Welcome to the Finance Forum. I'm Abdu-Raof Hanslo. Today we are outside the offices of Alchemy Financial Services. Our guest for the last 11 weeks on our show, Mr. Etienne Wilsnach, and we're just about to meet him. So join me in entering through this door to meet the businessman, Mr. Etienne Wilsnach. Hi Etienne.
Welcome.
It's nice to meet you at the offices.
Yeah, for a change.
Studio.
Welcome.
So, we're here to meet you, we're here to see where you work, we're here to meet your staff and find out more about how your business runs.
This is where it all happens.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Come through.
So your offices seem very comfortable, Etienne.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on, it seems like.
Yeah, this is where it all happens. So there was a lot of intent in this space when we designed it. So when we looked at it 7-8 years ago, I wanted to ensure that I can continue a superior quality of service to the consumer, to the client. In order to do that, I needed to create a space for an advisor that is professional and that gives him a space to build his practice. So what we've designed here then is a very intensive admin space, and then each one of my financial advisors actually have their private office where they can find.
Now I'm amazed because over the last 11 weeks, all I've seen was this space.
Yes.
On camera. And to stand here in your operational center and to see exactly what goes on behind the scenes at Alchemy Financial Services, I'm actually very, very impressed.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This indeed is one of the better run practices, as I might say.
I'm privileged. Thank you. May I introduce you to one of my senior advisors?
Yes,
Siraj American. This is his admin team. And they have very specific function in his life. So I think what I wanted to show you and share with you is the fact that behind an advisor, there's more than just an advisor. There's actually a very strong admin team.
Absolutely.
And this is his team. So Siraj, meet up through it.
Abdu-Raof.
Hi, nice to meet you, Siraj.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
You know, we've had this gentleman in our seat for many weeks, and we've spoken at length about financial planning. We've spoken about the concept and the importance of it for our community. So I think today our main objective is basically to look at a financial service provider and to see why the importance thereof. So you obviously have a good run, a well-run institution on this side. Tell us a little bit about Alchemy.
Well, obviously, as you've known over the last 11 weeks, this is the engine. This is where everything actually happens.
Yeah.
So as a practice, as a financial planner, the admin support is very important as well, because it's not just the one-man show. Yes, we do consult with the clients, and when we actually come back to the office and that consultation gets down onto the actual operational side of it, and this is where it all happens. Obviously, the client's service is very important. We focus more on service-centric. We're more service-centric than product-centric at the end of the day, because we believe at Alchemy that is what's going to take the client forward within their financial needs.
You must have specialities. There's probably specialized departments, and your team are probably very well versed in exactly what the needs of your clients are. So, would you like to introduce us to your team, or would you like to just basically give us a roundup of what it is you do exactly for the clients at Alchemy?
Well, like I said, Abdu-Raof, because when we meet the clients, we don't know at that point what the client's needs are. And sometimes the needs is very specific, so it could be single needs, it could be holistic needs. We are well-rounded to service the clients within those specific areas. We might have the odd client that wants one particular thing dealt with, and we will service the clients in that, but we will expose the client to other areas that he might not know he needs assistance with. So the team, which is Shannon, which is my personal assistant, and then we have Leo Prince, and Leo is really the general assistant, where Leo will pick up from the pieces that Shannon is maybe not addressing or cannot get to. Because within a client's financial portfolio, you might find that it might seem very simple when we present a financial plan, but in the background, the attention to detail is absolutely important. And usually we find within the market, that is where clients become frustrated because they feel that they're not being seen to, they're not being serviced properly, and we try and change that within Financial Alchemy.
Now, Leo, coming to you. I know you're flanked by both your bosses on both sides.
That's right.
So we believe that you can't say anything wrong on TV. But tell us a bit about your experience with Alchemy.
Well, like Siraj said, I'm the general practitioner here, also known as a paraplanner. I'm an extension of what Siraj does. My job basically is to ensure that everything the way he thinks, I just need to make sure that it's actioned, and I do as much work so that he can get to see the clients as much as possible.
So we're going to ask you to be honest. And in saying that, how is it to work at Alchemy?
I think with my experience since being in the industry since 2008, Alchemy is the best place to be in the financial sector.
Now, the one thing we at the Finance Forum have is we have the utmost respect and the utmost admiration for financial service providers, because we believe that the service that's being offered to the general public out there is a well-needed service. And so many times we have come across bad stories and horrid stories as far as finances are concerned. So thank you, gentlemen, for what you do for our community. And we wish you all the best for the future, and we hope that the future holds very much prosperity for Alchemy and individually yourselves as well.
Thank you, Abdu-Raof.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we're back here with Etienne Wilsnach of Alchemy Financial Services. We've spoken to his team, we've spoken to his staff, and we've basically got a gist of his business, of how it runs, the importance of financial planning in this very tough times in South Africa. So now we sit with Alchemy's boss, Mr. Etienne Wilsnach, who's been with us for 11 exciting programs, where I believe that a lot of the community has benefited from the knowledge that he's imparted to you. Mr. Wilsnach, it's been a pleasure over the last 11 sittings to be with you. And just to see your general operations of how it's run at current stage here at your offices is astounding to me. There's obviously a lot that goes into running a financial service provider of your nature, and by the looks of it, you're not a small player in the industry. So I think to kick off this program, if you could give us a bit of a roundup of how this has evolved to where it is at present.
Okay, so that journey started, my life journey started 24 years ago. But I soon learned that there's so much work to be done in our community, and I can only extend my ideas to a limited amount of people. And I thought, hang on, if I could emulate this, and I could teach more young men with the same value system, with the same levels of integrity, to take what I have and we can quadruple this, we can multiply this by 1,000%. Because now if I saw 300 clients in 10 years and I have 10 advisors, I can impact 3,000 people. And that's where the vision started, and it's ever evolving, it changes every year. So we've started the old mutual franchise 7 years ago, and we're presently sitting on 34 financial advisors with a vision of probably taking it to about 60 in the next 2 years. But what I'm excited about is that here we have 34 people that if they each see 5 people a week, we have 100 people's lives that are changed every week because they're being taught new ideas, they're being exposed to new ways of planning and ensuring that their family's quality of life is ensured. So this to me is more than just a franchise, it's more than that. It's an incubator, because my biggest dream is to also see young men from our community. Yeah, unemployment at the moment is a struggle for most matriculants. They leave matric, they don't have opportunity. In our industry, there's massive opportunity. This is an incubator where I want to change the lives of 60 financial advisors and their wives and their kids. And if they're 60, in fact 500 people in their lifetimes, I've changed the lives of thousands of people through this incubator. So the vision is far more than just financial planning. It's really about creating a space for young men to become good husbands, good dads, good financial advisors and good members of society. And in that way, we can actually change the lives of South Africa and the people in our community.
Now, coming in at your front door, the one thing that we notice against the back wall of your reception is the Viturian Man by Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes.
So, being a lover of art, we understand exactly what pieces of art like that means. And the Viturian Man is basically the epitome of the holistic being. It's basically the completed human.
Yes.
So when seeing that, I was very pleased to see that when walking into your office earlier, to see that, because that gave me a sense that you run a business that's an holistic business that sees to the needs of society and applies the specialities that you are qualified in to better the lives of society at large. So, Etienne, the one thing that I would want to know is your current potential in your business and the current potential for society at large that's attached to your business, and how best you could apply what you know and your team knows to better their lives going forward.
So if you look at the word alchemy, you might have seen that as well. Alchemy is the science of taking something of little value and turning it into something of great value.
Turning lead to gold.
Lead to gold. So that is very symbolic of the space that I'm trying to create. So if I take it to the basic, to my advisor, taking young men who are often not familiar with the concept of financial planning, and I'm trying to evolve them into just amazing men, and the potential of that's unlimited. Because this is my contribution to making this country a better place, but more so my passion for my community, my people, because that's where the work needs to be done. And one of the misnomers are people think, if you're a doctor and if you're an attorney, I always say this to people: the day you die, the day your husband dies, your doctor's still going to bill you, your attorney is still going to bill you, but you must never forget that the guy that's going to create the funding to pay that bill is your financial planner, your financial advisor. Okay, and people need to start understanding the importance of that in their lives and how that plays. So what is my responsibility is to develop impeccable young men with values, with integrity, that can take that forward into our community.
Another thing that comes to point in speaking about the word alchemy, and your logo is so befitting, because there's a good story of alchemy when looking at Leonardo da Vinci. Recently we saw the painting of Christ that went up for auction at Christie's in last week. That painting that was sold for $60 US at a garage sale in 1958 fetched 450 million rand on Wednesday last week.
Wow.
Painted by Leonardo da Vinci, a clear sign of alchemy.
There we go. Yeah.
Etienne, looking at the focus, your focus obviously in the practice of this nature cannot be limited to only one specific area. Your focus is obviously on a broader spectrum. Can you take us through exactly your focus in your business and the focus of your financial advisors tied to you in society?
So if you look back at the last 11 episodes, it was very systemic. There was a plan, and if you follow that format, you'll see that's exactly how I actually train on an ongoing basis my financial advisor to holistically advise his clients. So all of us have the capacity to look at your ability to have estate planning in place, so you can have your will drafted with my advisor. You'll be able to actually look at what your requirements were, being married, single or divorced, and he can have that in place for you. He can look at your financial planning around your risk, what's important, are you self-employed, what is your present situation, and what are your requirements to ensure that your family is taken care of. He can look at your investment and your saving needs. Have you taken advantage of all the tax benefits? And then what are your retirement requirements? So my guys have actually been trained to look at that holistically. In addition to that, if you need to talk to him about your medical aid requirements, he actually has a partnership, or we have a partnership with Optivest, where we can actually assist you with that. And furthermore, on your short-term sites, I say, Etienne, I've looked at my estate planning, I've looked at my life and disability cover, I've invested, I'm a retirement planning, my medical is in place, but I just bought a new car. My advisor can even take care of that. So we've ring-fenced. Everything that is related to the financial planning can be taken and should be taken care of for you by one of my financial advisors.
Now, Etienne, I mean, you know, we live in tough times in South Africa. And I think a lot of people, individuals, are looking to the future and thinking there's not a very bright future ahead. From a financial planning perspective, how does the future look for your business? How does the future look for society? And what is there from your side and your business side that can improve the lives of individuals going forward into the future?
So I'm a bit of a Stephen Covey theorist, so I believe in the concept of the areas of influence and not concern. So what's happening around us, what's happening in Zimbabwe, Zuma, I cannot influence any of that. I have no influence over the fuel price or what's happening in the greater economy. What happens in my practice, what happens in my home, in my personal life is where my influence is. And the irony is that saying that, 2017 for me, I've been in this industry for 24 years. 2017 had been my best year. So it flies in the face of the theory that the economy is bad. Okay, what I'm saying is that if you are visionary, you have your goals in place and you apply some discipline, you can achieve those goals even in the tough times. I think the problem with consumer is we're so obsessed with the areas we have no influence over. We're so worried about it that we're actually not doing what we're supposed to do. So the advice is plan around the realities. The tough times have been here as long as man has been here.
Yeah.
So I'm sure if you sat back in 1942, you would have probably felt the same way.
Yeah.
The world is a terrible place and there's a war coming. We've survived it. Okay? And as humans, that's how we've been designed. So for me, be creative, look at your realities and plan for that. And I'm still saying that even in the tough times, there are people that are making money.
You know, Etienne, it's been a roller coaster ride the last 12 programs, this being the 12th. This series has been so enlightening to the Finance Forum, and I think our community and viewers have really benefited from the knowledge that you've imparted to them. Any last words?
Yes, I have, and it's more on the philosophical side, not the financial side. But if I look back at the community, I look at where I grew up, I listen to the radio every day about the shootings, about the violence in our communities. The problem in our community is that we don't have enough examples of people that have actually done well, and in that we don't have enough leadership. If you have a story to tell, go back and tell it. Okay, because we can change this around. It doesn't have to be the way. We don't have to be victims of our legacy. So for me, being a township kid, proper, I just want to share with your viewers that we can get through it if we apply ourselves to a different way of being.
Etienne, thank you very much for the last 12 programs. Thank you for being there to hold our society's hand through tough times, and thank you for advising them on what the best options are into the future.
Thank you.
You've been watching the Finance Forum with myself, Abdu-Raof Hanslo, and we've been with Etienne Wilsnach of Alchemy Financial Services for the last 12 programs. We've reached the end of the financial planning series, and what a series it has been. We've taken you through all the concepts of what's best for you financially, and hopefully you've benefited from the knowledge that was imparted on the last 12 episodes. So until next time, stay focused to your finances. Someone's getting ready. Perfect. Okay. The roller coaster ride of the last 12 weeks have been exceptionally exciting for us here on the Finance Forum, especially when it comes to financial planning and how beneficial our content has been to you, our viewers. This program that we've just completed shows an in-depth look at exactly what goes on behind the scenes at a financial services provider. And Etienne Wilsnach of Alchemy Financial Services has really brought justice to his profession. Today we are proud to say that we covered basically your entire lifespan from birth to death. And Alchemy Financial Services showed that they have the ability to manage your entire life plan and your financial plan going forward. This is an important part of our lives, for the mere fact that finances plays a major part into the future, and in the economic state that we find ourselves in South Africa, it's even more of an integral part of our lifestyles going forward. So going forward, I suggest to each and every one of our viewers, if you have benefited or not from the content displayed over the last 12 weeks of the financial planning series on the Finance Forum, I do suggest that you go and find a financial planner and have a comprehensive financial plan drawn up for yourself to look to the future. We need to secure ourselves going forward from a medical perspective, from a financial perspective, and from a security perspective. We all have challenges in life, and some of those challenges include our children going off to expensive universities, expensive schools, and basically what it costs to live today. In today's time, we find an endless amount of expenditure being increased on a monthly and quarterly basis. If we make the correct provisions in order to facilitate those increases in our life, then we can definitely survive the scourge we find ourselves in today from an economic perspective. Etienne Wilsnach started out 12 weeks ago on a general outlook on financial planning and the importance thereof. I, for one, being a finance person, have learnt a lot. And I can just imagine that our viewers too have learnt a lot from this program. Today, we visited his offices. We've seen the operations that goes on behind the scenes. We've seen what it takes to run an organization that basically takes your needs into account and calculates forward what your requirements might be into the future. We at the Finance Forum are famous for propagating financial advice and proper financial advice going forward. We are also watchdogs for those who issue incorrect financial advice. We were lucky over the last 12 weeks to have a company like Alchemy Financial Services on board to take us through the steps of financial planning. As before, we've covered a tremendous amount of financial planning on the program, but this last 12 weeks have been exceptionally intense as far as unpacking the principles and what it entails in financial planning. So we thank Etienne Wilsnach and Alchemy Financial Services for taking us through this very important part of our finances into the future. The Finance Forum has been around now for just over 1 year, and in this time we've covered a tremendous and a huge array of topics, from the economic developments for the new year, as we will be doing shortly on this program as well, and to even looking at political events and how it impacts on the economy of South Africa and us as consumers. Going forward, we look forward to more guests in the hot seat to add value to your life as far as financial planning, as far as economics is concerned, and to give you a general outlook and feel of where we are in South Africa. We ask you from the Finance Forum side to hold on tight. The end is near. There's always a silver lining to all problems, and at this stage where we find ourselves, that political interference in our economy will soon come to an end. So be patient, be wary, and be very cognizant of what you spend. This has been a special broadcast, an outside broadcast at Alchemy Financial Services, and it's been the end of a series of financial planning, and our very special guest, Mr. Etienne Wilsnach, whom we say a big thank you to for his presence, and we wish you, the viewer, a very, very good economic future. Until next time, stay focused to your finances.